Hey guys and Ayaz, thank you for hosting this week's episode of Before You Buy. I'm Shannon Morse, the producer of Before You Buy, and this week I have the AT&T Pantech Flex, which is exclusively for AT&T. This little 4G LTE smartphone is running on Android 4.0 Ice Cream Sandwich, and the interesting thing about it is that it features this thing called Easy Experience. So it kind of has two different software applications instead of just one Android user experience. You have two. Kind of interesting that you can switch back and forth between them. I'll show you more about that in just a moment. So let's go over some of the details of this little guy. It's $49.99 with a 2-year contract on AT&T, so it's really cheap, and you get pretty decent specs with it. It's only 4.6 ounces, so it's very lightweight, and it's kind of big. It's pretty large in your hand, but it's not uncomfortable. So I can sit here and play with it just fine with just one swipe of my finger. Very nice. It also has a 4.3-inch Super AMOLED display. It's 1.5 gigahertz with a dual-core Snapdragon, so it's pretty decently fast. And it has Bluetooth 4.0 built in. I've never played with Bluetooth 4.0, so I'm pretty happy about that fact. It also has SwiftKey keyboard, and it also has the swipe keyboard. So you have your option of two of them depending on what your specific needs are. The cameras has an 8 megapixel camera on the rear back here. And it also can do 1080p HD video, which is really nice, but we'll get more into that in just a moment. And it also has a 2 megapixel front camera in case you want to take photos of you and put them on the new MySpace. It has 8 gigabytes of onboard storage, which is really nice, and it also has a micro SD slot, so you can add in additional storage, say 32 gigs of additional storage, which would be really sweet. And it also has an 1830 milliamp per hour battery, so it's pretty decent sized battery. It can run about 3 days if you don't use it at all, and about 10 to 12 hours if you do use it pretty constantly and heavily. Now let's get into a couple of other things. There's no NFC on here. To this day and age, I'm kind of surprised that this Android phone doesn't have NFC. So that means there's no Android Beam. You can't do any kind of beaming to your friends. I noticed when I was playing with this that the back cover feels kind of cheap, but it's really easy to put on and off. First off, we have the speaker over here. Now there's just a little slot in the back cover for the speaker. I thought that was kind of weird when I was playing with it. You could tell that it was somewhat muffled. I didn't really like that much. It also has a slot for your extra 32 gig little SD card and your micro SIM. And then of course the battery. When you pop it back on, it's super easy to do. You just line it up and snap it on. I do like what it looks like. It has this nice backing to it with the gray slate color, and it feels really nice to the fingers. It's kind of a rubbery feel. It's not shiny, and it doesn't really pick up a lot of grease or a lot of moisture from your hands, which is really nice. The phone lens is very large, so it's really easy to fingerprint it if you do stick your hands right there. So I'd suggest, just making sure that you don't press it very much. Now, the lock screen. This is kind of cool. I love that Pantech has this option where when you hit the lock screen, you have a lot of different choices that you can make. I'm in the easy access mode. I can just flip the switch to turn it on. It's kind of nice that it does that, and I can understand why they call it easy experience for this interface. On the normal Android interface on Pantech phones, you also have this circular interface on the lock screen where you can just drag and drop whatever thing that you want to use, or you can just unlock it. That's kind of cool, and I like that Pantech thought about that. It's really nice. Now let's talk about the camera a little bit. I noticed a few things about the camera that I did like and a few things that I didn't like. For example, when you go into the camera app in the easy experience mode, you can swipe over to see your menu, and you can drag and drop different items to create little icons along the side of your actual camera while you're taking photos. So you have easy access to the flash, the exposure, what have you, and whatever you choose to add on to there. And also, whenever you take a photo, whether it's zoomed in or zoomed out, the photos still come out somewhat blurry, even if your person or the product or whatever you have in front of the lens is close up, or if it's far away. I didn't like the quality of this camera. Even though it's 8 megapixels, I noticed a lot of things that I really wasn't happy about. Even with flash, it really wasn't that great. The 1080p video is okay, it's pretty decent. You don't see a lot of issues with it as far as the 1080p video goes, but I did notice it crashed on me a couple of times. It tried to restart the camera app on me. So I'm assuming, I don't know, maybe I was messing around with it too quickly or something in that case. And also, there's no panoramic view on here, so you can't take any kind of panoramic shots with the camera. Now, the front-facing camera, it's 2 megapixels. Takes decent shots if you have really, really good lighting, and this would be great for regular video calls or what have you, your MySpace shots, of course. But all together, it's still 2 megapixels, and we have so many options these days that I just can't constitute saying, yeah, it's a decent camera. Now, the phone itself. Unfortunately, we did not have a SIM card for AT&T that we could use with this phone when we got it in. So I was not able to test the actual phone. But from what I've read online and from what I've seen, it has pretty decent call quality. It's no different from any other phone that you can get these days. And the battery, last but not least. Now, I did say it could get 10 to 12 hours or so, and 3 days if you don't even use it at all. That's pretty good. 10 to 12 hours, that's pretty much the decent usage that you would get on very, very heavy use. Let's talk pros and cons of this little device. So the Pantech Flex. It's nice because of the price. It's $50. I mean, you can't get any better than $50 for a nice Android phone. The ease of use is wonderful. I love that we have a phone available that's made for people that may not be so used to the Android devices these days. And it's pretty fast whenever you're switching between the applications. I only had it crash on me once or twice when I'm assuming I was going too fast for it. And the cons, of course, the camera. I just can't get over the fact that it doesn't look that great, even though it's supposed to be 1080p and 8 megapixels. That's pretty good, so I was expecting a little bit more. And I did notice one thing in here. If you go into your shortcuts, they have pre-installed a pill reminder. A pill reminder. So I have a pretty good idea of what kind of consumer audience they are going for with this phone. They're definitely going for the older generations, people who need a pill reminder, people who have never used these kinds of phones, who might even be a little afraid of it. So it may be a good idea if somebody has been a little interested in getting into a Android or an iPhone to give them one of these and say, try this out, I'll help you set it up if you need, and see if you like it. All in all, I'm going to give the Pantech Flex for AT&T a try. I don't think it's perfect for somebody who is more experienced with an Android phone, but I do think it would make a great gift, especially for the holiday season, for somebody who is not as experienced. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye.